My name is Jared Odessky, and I was in the Columbia and Slavery class in spring 2015. My project explores the anti-slavery and anti-racist activism of John Jay II, Columbia class of 1836, and the grandson of John Jay, who was King's College class of 1764. I argue that during his college years at Columbia, and then throughout his later life as a churchman and lawyer, Jay challenged the prevailing conservative attitudes of Columbia and Columbians on the defining issues of mid-19th century America: slavery and race. I rely on a range of primary sources, including student diaries, pamphlets and speeches, periodicals from both the popular and abolitionist press, correspondence from the RBML's Jay family papers, and university records such as the minutes from the Board of Trustees. I first examined John Jay II as a student in Columbia College from 1832 to 1836. I find that Jay's views on slavery and race likely did not develop on campus. Not only was his grandfather John Jay a strong supporter of manumission, as Cody has discussed in another paper, but his father William was an abolitionist activist and anti-colonizationist. Jay was also prepared for college by an anti-slavery Episcopal minister, and thus likely came to campus with many of his views already in place. Columbia's curriculum in the 1830s focused on classical subjects such as Greek and Latin. By the time Jay took any course that could have touched on slavery, such as constitutional jurisprudence in his senior year, he was already active in the abolitionist movement. Jay also likely did not learn his views from his classmates, who largely hailed from a merchant class that directly benefited from the cotton trade. As Chloe has found, another classmate of mine, the main literary society on campus at the time, the Philalexian Society, hosted debates on slavery, but they likely did not feature voices in strong favor of immediate abolition. When Jay did participate in debates on campus, he was dismissed by classmates such as George Templeton Strong, who once wrote that super fine Mr. John Jay delivered an English salutatory remarkable only for the quantity of blarney it contained. Jay's views put him at odds with a student body that was likely either apathetic or pro-colonization. As an alternative, Jay became active off campus. In May 1834, near the end of Jay's sophomore year, he helped found the New York Young Men's Anti-Slavery Society and was named as a manager. The society's members called for immediate emancipation. Among the 24 officers and managers of the group in its first year, only Jay had any direct Columbia College affiliation. He continued his activity in the group after graduation and was chosen to serve as its president in 1839. I next turned to Jay's activism in the Columbia-dominated Episcopal Church. Jay and his father William were both members, as were a strong majority of Columbia's trustees. The leadership of the church's New York wing was also populated with Columbia College graduates. When Jay took on the church, he was thus taking on his fellow Columbians. I look at two instances of racial discrimination in the church that Jay challenged. The first is the case of Alexander Crummell, a black man who applied for admission to the church's General Theological Seminary in 1839 and was rejected. Jay assisted Crummell in publicizing his grievances and directly targeted Benjamin T. Onderdonk, the Bishop of New York and Columbia College class of 1809. The second case is the continued denial of St. Philip's Church, a black Episcopal congregation, from the Protestant Episcopal Convention. Jay fought for 9 years as a delegate of St. Matthew's Church to get St. Philip's reinstated, represented, and eventually succeeded. In his activism in both instances, Jay linked the church's racial discrimination to its complicity in the system of slavery as a whole. I finally turned to John Jay II's career practicing law in New York City, through which he also confronted the critical issues of slavery and race. For one, Jay represented numerous fugitive slaves who came up through the Underground Railroad, as detailed in Professor Eric Foner's book, Gateway to Freedom. And he also took on Columbia directly in his legal activism. Between 1850 and 1853, Jay led the legal battle against the College of Physicians and Surgeons, later Columbia's medical school, for expelling James Parker Barnett, a medical student forced out of the school at the start of his third year when the faculty determined he was a person of color. Columbia currently honors John Jay I with a dormitory, a dining hall, a scholars program, and a prominent alumni dinner. I believe that the university should also pay tribute to its other John Jay, a devoted Columbian who advanced the thinking of his classmates and the institution on the day's defining issues.